other way around in CS people. I've seen so many of them in our college regretting taking CS.
Yeah.
Thought once I could take psychology, I could just go for that.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I've thought I could have taken like arts and like just painted for 3 years straight.
Yeah.
You know me, you know that I'm also a guy who only do things that I like. Like even if it's like, as you said, even if it do or die, I will rather choose die than do in many most cases.
You can write physics, you can design physics, you can do everything possible with physics.
Physics primarily for money or job security, what would you tell them? When people think of scientists, the chance where they really think of physicists. Newton, Einstein, Curie, Bohr, Galileo are the first results on searching scientists on Google, and they were all primarily physicists. Physics have long been considered the crown jewel of science. It makes its presence known in engineering, chemistry, biology, and even archaeology. Perhaps the most prestigious of Nobel Prizes is the Physics Nobel, which was awarded last year for the physics which made AI even possible. But with that also comes a reputation for being a deep, difficult, and maybe even a mystical subject to understand. But what is it actually like to study physics in college? Is it still the king of sciences, or just a tough road with a few career paths? And what do physics students study, and is it a viable career option? To help answer these questions, we have Gautham V, a math and physics major at Chennai Mathematical Institute, Vedant Neema, a recent pass out in math and physics at CMI, and Rishita Kinra, an engineering physics student at NIT Surat. To get the ball rolling, I'll ask a question. It's an open question. All three of you should answer it, I hope. When did you first realize you wanted to become a physicist? And what drew you to this branch initially?
I mean, for me, it was very clear from very early on. Like since 8th standard, I was going into higher material and just looking for new things to study. So like since then, I just had in mind like I'm going into physics research. I don't care what my parents say. So yeah, it's been like that. So as soon as I found out I can do both math and physics degree in CMS, I just went for it.
For me, it's not been as a specific a day when I decided, oh, I want to be a physicist. No, it's not been like that. My journey has been a little complicated. So since sixth standard, I read a chapter about Kalpana Chawla, I remember. So that's when I actually came to know about what is engineering. So aerospace engineering was what attracted me there, and started since then I started researching about engineering, different branches. It was when JOSA counseling started, I saw a branch named engineering physics, which I never knew about. Physics had been an interesting subject, and I was like, in engineering, physics will be there. It's by default. Research is important. It's a part of our everyday life. We go in whatever field, be it computation, be it coding, be it entrepreneurship, be it any job, you need research for every field, maybe not physics. Now, coming to the part when I researched about engineering physics, I found it a really balanced field, a combination of perfect physics, maths, and computing. So that's when I decided that I wanted to take this branch.
And for you, Gautam?
For me, like I was always interested in physics. I was like most interested in physics and math. From yeah, physics probably the interest came somewhere like sixth standard, seventh standard, and yeah, I was almost sure about taking physics, but at the same time during the COVID time, I was doing a lot of programming, so I was confused a bit between CS and physics at that time. But after 11th standard, like I actually figured out that I should do physics. So here I am.
Okay. I'll address this one to Rishita. Rishita, you have organized MUNs. You are
Yes.
currently designing for RENFA, which is FUNIT's publication. You are an actor at Kirdar and Cinephila, active in FUNIT's Literary Affairs Committee, and got second place in a poetry contest a week ago. And as you mentioned, it seems like you have a lot of interests. So where does physics come in or into all this?
Where does what come? Physics.
Physics.
Physics comes in all of these because you can write physics, you can design physics, you can do everything possible with physics. See, I think uh, there is no discrete field. This is what we've divided over time. from what I've studied and learned and researched, in our ancient times, there used to be no divisions of fields. Everything used to be studied together, connected. When we were also kids, seventh standard, we used to study science, not physics, chemistry, or biology, because in every field, there is a mechanism of every branch used. So, for example, if I'm studying biology, it doesn't mean that I won't use physics there. Are you getting me? And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, if I'm studying physics, maths is also used. So physics is a very vast field, you know. So for designing also, when you come to designing, so when we do simulations, or in specially computational physics, if you know about Desmos, or making simulations, visual simulations through Python, then you actually need physics for that part as well. So when you are running a simulation, you need both the concepts of design and physics. That's where it's correlated. So here you can do that. Now for writing, as for writing, you need to make physics look interesting. Coming to college academics, when we study it in the classes, we don't find it so interesting at times. Why? Because the content is not interesting. It's not presented in an interesting manner. So physics is an interesting subject, but it has to be presented in a good manner. So
yeah.
writing
So
comes
all
into
these
use there.
things in some way aid the presentation of the physics to the general public.
Exactly. So that the general public can relate to it. So that's what I believe. It's all interrelated in the end.
Okay, as now we have come on this mentioning that physics is a subject that is studied at school level and as well as in the entrance exams. What is different between the physics we see in research or in college than what is studied at these levels?
JE level is a little, calculative physics. When we come to studying it from board's point of view or theoretical point of view, you need to go into the theoretical depths. Now, for preparation of competitive exams, you don't maybe need to, go into the theories of it, though you need to know the core concepts so that you can come to an answer for an arrival. So that's how it was different. The concept is needed in both of them, but there you need to present it theoretically. There you need an answer for it. That's what is different.
Any other views on it,
Other,
Nemo and
yeah,
Yeah.
Gautam?
So
the
in
other thing that
JX,
changes is that, like at the college level, you have to study a lot more on your own. In school level, I found you can just visit classes regularly, and that is a lot more than enough.
okay, so in the JE, like it's more like you have a something that you have studied. Like the questions are more or less similar, but when you come to this, for example, my current stage, like when you see a question, you probably won't get the answer. You go through a dozen of books, you refer to different concepts and all. Like it's not really a problem solving. Like I mean, I'm not saying the problem solving in the sense, but a problem and solving it. It's not like that. It's more about going deep into it and learning new concepts about it.
Okay, and now that we have talked about coming to classes, I'll point out this observation on Gautam. Gautam, you are one of the people in CMI who have 100% attendance in almost all classes, including classes which no one likes, including you. Every class, you are there on time in the front row, and you do that for classes with no attendance policy as well. So why? Why not bunk classes, which you
Uh,
already know or don't even enjoy?
so for the primary reason coming, the a majority of my studies come, like especially in non-physics subject, the majority of the studies come within the classroom. Like I don't like to go off and study it a lot. Like I get sleepy when I read other subjects. So so I try to sit in the classes in the maximum. So like I don't miss anything. I mean, I do look after the class, but like very low compared to physics. So that's a primary reason. And I mean, in the starting of the college, I decided that I will attend every classes.
Okay,
I actually haven't missed any except when one like coincided with the another class. That was the only point.
okay. At that point, I'll also point out that I think you had decided to learn linear algebra by studying relativity and group theory by studying quantum, if I remember correctly. If
Uh-huh.
this something you recommend other people do, has it worked out for you, and how did you discover this idea?
Yeah, but the reason became the same because like I actually want to like for the uh, classes for the curriculum I need to study the topic, but when I start to read it, after some point I'll get sleepy if it is not physics. So I try to mix it with physics and study, but I also study it without physics. But like especially the starting, I go with the physics method.
Okay, so you use the like physics to push everything else in life.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let us ask another thing here to the general everyone. Okay, we have all mentioned that there's a lot of math, lot of work involved with physics. So if let's say someone thinks that they're not smart enough to do this work or they're not good at math at
Right.
school level or physics at school level, can they still do physics at college level?
Um,
Linear algebra, perhaps.
Yeah.
But
Linear algebra,
yeah.
calculus.
usually those opposites are taught in the
Like
college along with
I
the
think there are
physics.
fields of physics
Okay,
which
math is
can
required,
manage like
I
linear
think.
algebra and like J level maths. I think there'll be
Yeah.
fields of physics that you can manage with like J level maths and linear algebra and all.
JE level maths people have not done yet. They can cover up in college. Sometimes, especially my batchmates, I also study with pure physics people who are doing MSc. So they are not really prepared for JEE examinations much. But yet they are able to cope up with maths in the college when they start learning in the college itself. So it's not necessary if you don't know in school, you can't learn in college.
Okay, I think at that point it may be a college to college difference. I think because
They
we are.
don't learn through professors, they learn with the help of friends.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's generally because of the pressure only. It's not that they have that understanding, but slowly they have to cope up because they don't have an option. So it's like do or die at times because you've taken this and you can't back out. You have to perform good. So you need to learn that level of math, Essa.
Okay. If we talk about backing out from fields, Vedant, you are an extremely competent programmer, and I believe 90% of CS people will tell you that you are better than most CS people to ever step through our halls. And the only student seminar you have given was titled Language of the Machine and was about low level programming languages. What is this duality, and have it ever occurred to you to leave physics and go for CS?
I mean, the first thing that I learned in CMI was that the CS there isn't programming most of it. It's, Turing machines and those kinds of things, which are still interesting, but they didn't pique my interest as much as topics in physics did. Things like right now, when I'm applying for an MSc, I'm going into nuclear physics stuff. That is incredibly fascinating to me. I love reading anything about it. I'll just pick up a book and just read it for a very long time.
Any good book recommendations?
Nuclear physics, I forget the author's name. It's one by Blatt and Weisskopf. It's a really old book, but I really liked reading it.
Ah,
It's called Nuclear Physics. So, like CSI kind of started learning because of physics. So, in a lot of cases, I read some like article or something, and I wanted to sometimes physics people say that to understand physics phenomena, you should know how to simulate it. So I was dabbling in physics simulations and Monte Carlo simulations, those kind of things. And that's kind of how I got into CS anyway. And then, eventually game dev and whatever other things are there. So it was just a like side path that I took while learning physics. So
okay, so
yeah, that's why like physics never became less important to me in that course.
okay, so till now we have seen that it is true for all the physics people that you have approach other things from a physical standpoint. Okay, we'll first take it through physics
Yes.
and then we'll see what can be done later.
Yes.
So this also puts a question that have this is open to the panel. Have any of you ever regretted not choosing a more popular branch?
No,
No, never. Not that.
never. Yeah,
I mean,
never.
sometimes I've thought I could have taken like arts and like just painted for 3 years straight,
Yeah.
but that's a corner case. I don't think that's relevant
I
here.
I thought once I could take psychology, I could just go for that. So yeah, that's what I thought, but not a more popular branch, never. They just annoy me.
Across the board, no. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I'm pretty
And
sure that's the other way around in CS people. I've seen so many of them in our college regretting taking CS.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
think that
that's
says
true.
something.
uh, now, if another question would be that if someone is considering physics primarily for money or job security, what would you tell them?
Depends on you.
Um,
If you have interest and if you can take it to that level, it depends. It's complicated.
Vedant is nodding his head like, nahi.
It's, I mean, it's not a clear thing. Physicists is not really a real.
Yeah.
Like,
in this field
what
of
ends
physics,
up
like
happening is,
for like
uh,
the field I am with, like we are theoretical physics. We are basically in theoretical physics. Like in that field, no, that's not a way to go for that money.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
theoretical physics not for money, but there are other branches of. So if you go for
Yeah,
computational physics, there is a lot of money. Come on, that's like
the
a
main like
need.
we are not saying that theoretical physics are not paid well, but like you know, like
And
we are doing more work and like you can't continue in this field if you don't like it that much. Like the liking is the fundamental thing, I guess.
Okay, I think
exactly, exactly. I believe
that's
that.
true for almost all research fields, right? Like you need to be somewhat
Ah,
in love with your subject
yeah, yeah, yeah.
to even stand. Okay. I'll address this to Gautam at that point. Gautam, you're from a rather small town in Kerala.
Okay.
Normally, people from small towns don't dream of becoming physicists, and very rarely do they join the undergrad program so well read that they can hold their own against PhDs and like have full conversations with professors. Like most people in CMI would put you on their highest odds of a person having a Nobel would probably people would just name you if I ask that question at CMI. What was this journey?
I mean, that's actually like so. As I said, when I was interested in CS, the first I thought like I will go for a CS degree, engineering degree, like engineering CS. I mean, at CSE, and then like after working some time, I'll go to research. But by the time I said I changed to completely physics, I realized that it is not a possible path. It's a very impractical. So I mean, I'm knowing about CMI like very few weeks before the CMI application closing. But my main aim was for Kharagpur, IIT Kharagpur BS Physics, and I got there. But like the CMI result came like the day after I got admission there, so I had to take down it. And yeah, and I mean I don't know, like I am always a guy like the people who know me know that I'm also a guy who only do things that I like. Like even if it's like as you said, even if it do or die, I will rather choose die than do in many most cases. So physics is the thing. I'm not. I cannot do anything else.
Okay. At this point, I'll point. It seems like at least two of you don't even care about the money involved with the field. So how do we convince? So if you had to convince a 12-year-old that why physics matters and why theoretical physics matters, what would you say? It is
I'll be honest, I don't think 12-year-olds care about money that much. You
Yeah,
tell them
that's
there's
true.
a possibility you can become an astronaut if you go into physics, and I think that'll
Yeah,
be.
I wanted to be an astronaut. I actually read that chapter because I wanted to be an astronaut. I had, oh, that sounds like me.
Yeah, I mean that was me too, but like as I got older, I got like that. That's
And
practically astronaut is a very mission critical thing. Like you don't
fun
live
fact
for
is,
well.
I was exactly 12 when I thought, oh, I'd be an astronaut.
Yeah.
okay. So at that point, the question becomes: what is one thing? Like this is open to the entire panel. What is one thing about physics that movies or media gets completely wrong? Like
I mean, of course,
I mean the
the
instant
whole
moment of light bulb thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's not
yeah.
the thing that happens in physics. You
Like,
slowly build up evidence and then like you make small steps toward whatever you're making. Like sometimes it takes like months, years to come up with something really useful. In movies they're like, oh,
yeah,
I have no idea how to build this, and they're just sitting in the sun or wherever, and suddenly they get a idea or something, and
yeah.
that
Like most
that's
people think about like popular physics, like the popular physics stuff when you say physics, but that's not actually what happens when you come to the research field. Like it's more math is involved, of course, and like he said, it's not something you take out from somewhere. It's not a magic or anything. Like you have to work hard. Like you have to work hard on studying things, especially for physics. Like there's a lot of things to study. Like in this is something I have understood about physics more than any other subject. It's like many fields of it are very much connected. Like you can't ignore many of the fields to do one field. So you have to go through each and everything to get to a conclusion. So there's a lot to study for in that manner.
Okay, so at this point, I'll point out that as we are talking about popular research being shown as this Eureka groundbreaking moments,
Hmm.
like we keep getting research articles like that one, that room temperature semiconductor, which made rounds on social media and news sites and whatnot, and it turned out to be false. So, like, is there a way that someone can like detect such bullshit that, oh my god, this is going to be false? When
I mean,
like,
you get that intuition when you're like constantly going through articles and papers. Like obviously when this was making rounds on forums and stuff, when you see something this shocking, it's usually not true because that is a very huge leap in the temperature at which superconductors exist. But like when you see such a huge jump, it's very easy to I think yeah, there's no way this is actually true. Obviously, you're going to fact check it. There was some like 812 labs around the world that tried to check it, and like only some small colleges got them. I claim to have got them, but then no one else did, so people figured out it was a sham. So things like that you get better at figuring out.
okay,
Yeah, in that sense, like James have found multiple alien life, right?
yeah. At that point, I'll also point out that on the other side of the spectrum, there are numerous articles in like top, not the physics article, the magazine article things, in New Yorker, in almost every major magazine in the last 2 years, which claim that physics have stagnated or physics have done nothing in the last 30, 40, 50, or 70 years. What is the thought on that?
The people who are writing are just maybe I'm not getting a bad word to say, but yeah, just understand.
So I think the primary reason for that, like during the from the in the first half of the 19th century, it was like a very accelerated um, growth for physics. Like first coming special relativities and general relativity and quantum mechanics, then suddenly came the quantum field theory, and its development took some time. But after that, we found a lot of particles, we got many theories, and then new theories came like um, string theory and all. But now this comment about physics is because like uh, like these have become so complex that it's like we are not finding any proof for these things. So especially this when you talk about physics in this sense, they are actually meaning these stuff like string theory and all. So like that's actually not growing a lot, but it's not, you can't say that. Like the primary our primary problems, we are not getting any evidence like experimental stuff getting. But yeah, it's how hard to get a experimental confirmation of these theories.
Okay, so basically the problems have become so hard and so difficult to explain to the common man
Yeah,
that popular physics is stagnated.
yeah, it is no longer that cannot come to the field of popular science in any near future. Like the current research topics will not be coming to the popular science in any near future.
Anyone else wants to add anything to that one?
But yeah, the thing that science is still progressing in a lot of things. Like nuclear waste processing has gotten a lot better in the last 20 years. And fusion power is like they've gotten so close to having a stable prototype now. And, and a lot of small things is what's really happening. So since that, black hole thing by Stephen Hawking, there hasn't been something that can be directly explained to the public. And that's what, as Gautam said, just explainable things have gone down in quantity.
I'll address this one to Vedant. Vedant, you can refuse to answer this. As far as I know, you have you are yet to apply to places for master or direct PhD, and are not coming back to CMI because we don't have a PhD. We don't have a physics program for master's level. You are brilliant at physics, and almost all professors will corroborate that. So, what is stopping you, and is this common with other physics people?
The other physics people have like already applied and gotten into places. Like the places I'm applying to, mainly Germany, their admissions like end very late, so I get to have my procrastination delay. I think their end is like July 15th or something. Like I've started to research the colleges, but I'm putting off like choosing which colleges specifically to apply to because there's a few options there. But like in India, I've already like applied for JEST. So when that happens, I will get that. It's on 22nd June if I remember right. So like I'm not completely lost, I think.
Okay, okay. So that's not a very common thing happening with physicists. Like it's not a general trend, right? Like people are not getting.
I mean, there's like two people who tried for physics from my batch this time. One from the batch previous and one from the batch before that. So I don't have a lot of data, but yeah, they do plan better than me.
Like this is a hard question, CMS student. We don't have enough data to plot a graph.
Okay. Mm, now we can finally ask the question as well. Okay, what is the most satisfying thing you have found in physics so far? Like you have found or learned in physics so far. What is the most satisfying moment?
I mean, there are obvious answers and there are exotic ones.
Yeah.
Obvious answer, obviously, relativity. Like, like before you learn it, it's like, oh, it's a new system that you'll have to learn. But when you do learn it, it's like, this is so much simpler than what we already have. Like, why didn't we realize we should be using this the whole time? Of course, the answer is complexity and stuff, but when I learned it for the first time, it was really satisfying, and I could see every other field just being extended to this domain.
But like,
Uh,
doesn't relativity lead to a lot of very confusing things happening?
like confusing if you don't understand relativity in the beginning. Once you understand like how you actually can think of it, like in terms of like tensors and like symplectic matrices, I think they're called. So this is a set of transformations that you can learn, some six-dimensional thing. From that, it becomes a bit more natural. Of course, it'll sound a little hoarse in production, but once you get it, it's very easy to extend things you've learned, like electrodynamics and quantum mechanics, without.
Gautam,
I mean, relativity is obviously the answer. I have been doing like the majority of the time, like more than half of the time I have spent with physics is in relativity. Like
you
not
also
more than
gave a
like
talk
yeah,
called
80%.
moving fast toward my older twin.
Yeah, I mean that was also relativity. I mean, yeah, that's an obvious answer, but like in a general sense, I would say like the more thing is satisfying is when you like there are problems that I have spent like multiple days on doing, and when you finally get it, nothing can meet that happiness. That satisfaction is in peak, and especially that has happened the most with relativity.
Rishita,
Like, yeah.
yeah. Oh, I think we are having connection issue.
So now I am like I studied quantum mechanics in the way. Now I'm like combining both. I'm doing quantum field theory, so it's actually very interesting. Like it's a special relativity of the quantum field theory that's actually interesting for me more than the quantum mechanics of it.
Okay, you guys. If a student is considering physics, what should they do to test if they would like it? What should they maybe read, watch, or try before saying yes or no to physics?
So I would say there are books in between popular physics and completely mathematical. For example, I can say the Feynman lectures, and there's this series by Leonard Susskind. So those two are like if you can go through it and actually enjoy those two books, those two series, like you can probably do very good physics.
And my dad learned all the ships.
Yeah,
Like,
Landau lectures, of course.
yeah, like I remember when I first read that, I was like, I don't doubt I want to study physics after this. This book is so amazing. It's not an easy book, but
Like
it's,
Landau lectures is a little bit more mathematical, like a little bit more advanced than the books I just suggested.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
Rishita,
and
And also, I
sorry to interrupt,
recommend a
but
book. There's
there's
a
a
like
book
book
called
called
University Physics.
the
If
yeah, I have
yeah,
seen
if
it.
you Gautam, have you read
Yeah,
that
I have
book?
seen it. Like I did some like wait. Are you talking about the Arthur Baser or the other one? I have no Arthur Baser is modern physics. University, I have seen it. Like it
Um,
will be in my
it's by
phone.
Young and Friedman.
Yeah, yeah, Young
I
and Furman. I have read it. Yeah,
like some
I haven't
some
read
person
like
in our coaching
lot of it,
recommended
but
that to
some of
me,
it.
and I just bought that really thick book. But it was so fun to read. It was I'm definitely sure it was a lot more interesting to read than CBSE
But it's
books.
a like long lengthy. It's a like it's expensive a lot. Like
I think I think one of the professors did donate a copy of University Physics for the integration B.
okay,
I don't know if it is the one we are talking about.
I think not at all. I don't think so.
Okay, anyways,
And yeah, one other thing is this tensor calculus for physics, a concise guide. It's an actually interesting book. Like it's connecting a lot of fields and especially the electrodynamics and stuff into the book. So it's actually it's a more mathematical, of course, but it's very interesting. Like it's written in a very interesting manner.
what about Morin?
Modern is all right, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's not the introduction you really want.
No, I was just kidding. Uh,
it's a,
yeah.
like really textbook.
Finally, we'll do a small rapid fire to end this.
Huh?
Okay, watching sport for web series.
Web
Web
series. I
series.
mean, I don't
I
watch
don't
web
watch
series, but
sports at all.
sports now. Like I
Okay,
sometimes watch the like final or semi final of some like World Cups, but other
Yeah,
than that,
maybe
no sports.
okay. Favorite food?
Mm,
hmm.
beef ribs.
Garlic bread.
Okay. Uh, if physics had a mascot, what would it be?
Beef physics had a what?
Mascot.
Like a person or an animal?
Anything.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Huh? Newton. I mean, like what?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Probably not. Hopefully not. Hmm. I mean, Einstein makes a pretty good mascot. Like even more than Newton. Like
Okay.
you show them him licking that like ice cream thing, and people like, oh, physics guy. Yeah, I think that fits.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a direct person.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm a
Controversial.
Tesla person, but you know, Einstein's more popular.
Yeah. Although, yeah, then again, there's a controversy about him doing his own work right now going on, right? Yeah. What one totally unexpected job someone in physics could be doing?
Librarian? No, that's very expected.
That's very expected.
That's very expected.
I forgot I am one. Yeah.
That's
Mm,
it's an interesting question indeed.
in physics, people can go into music. Maybe that can be unexpected. I've seen that happen.
That maybe like very hardcore, hardworking jobs, like office jobs. I don't think physics will be able to go.
Physicists are not hardworking. Gotham
And I'm
2025.
not talking about the hardworking, but like like
Physically hardworking
yeah,
means.
physically hardworking.
Yeah.
Also like office, even if it's like not a like not something like they enjoy actually,
Yeah,
like a
because
very
we plan
mechanical
from
one,
the start
very
to do
mechanical
something you
job.
enjoy. Yeah, exactly. Like that's the whole thing of physics people. They're
I
going
can't
into
even
this because
imagine
they
me
want to do
doing a
something they
mechanical
enjoy.
one.
Okay. What is something controversial about physics, but if true?
Controversial.
Mm, physics is a guessing subject. There's an assumption of knowledge. I mean, it's a complicated one, but it's a very common thing non-physicists get wrong.
If you could have a dinner with a physicist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Tesla,
Dirac.
Okay. Most overhyped topic in physics?
black holes, maybe dark matter. No, the
Dark
black
man.
hole.
Not. Mm,
Yeah, black holes are worse. They're like spaghetti and everything. They're like added to anything.
yeah, but they actually contains a lot of stuff also. Like for a person who is like just into physics, it's a very good way to like explore stuff, explore like
Maybe
different
wormholes
topics.
then? Yeah, wormholes don't get much work these days.
Yeah, wormholes. I don't think much
Yeah,
people works on it.
like we haven't seen one exist. It's just
Like it's
we all
popular
hope they
part
exist.
is going way more, but it's like it's not really going anywhere in theoretical parts. Like yeah,
Okay. And most underrated topic in physics?
Mm,
No topic underrated, I feel.
mm, like
I maybe like semi-classical physics, or even modern classical. Like people have gotten so into all this quantum stuff. Like I see very few people working on like classical problems still. There's still a lot to work on. Things like qualitative study of systems. Like that's really fun for me. But I haven't seen like too many people around me work on that.
Okay. If
Yeah, I'd say
physics
that.
did not exist, what would you be doing?
if what?
If physics did not exist, what would you be doing?
Hmm.
Probably math. Some math or CS mix.
CS or I like paleontology, archaeology or anything like that. I like those stuff also.
Oh, geology. I actually applied to a college with a geology course.
Wait,
There
you
was an
didn't tell
alternate
me that.
timeline when instead of doing math and physics, I would be doing math and geology. So,
Wait, I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Okay, that's also something I didn't know as well. If budget was not a constraint, what experiment would you like to do or recreate?
There's quite a few, mostly in electronic stuff. Like I don't have a lot of the more complicated, like wiring together equipment. Otherwise, I would be trying to make like CPUs, compact CPUs and stuff. Those are quite fun to study.
Yeah, particle accelerator, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
For
who doesn't
particle
want to?
accelerator for fun, bro.
Okay. Physics in one word?
Physics.
Best.
Okay. And finally, does the universe actually make sense or are we just guessing things?
Um,
Yeah, we are guessing things, definitely.
it's a superposition
I
of
mean,
both,
that
I guess.
still
The answer.
makes sense.
Okay. Any final words you guys want to say? One person left. Yeah.
Mm, I wish there were more physicists in CMI.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I just learned so much CS from the oversaturation of CS people there. Like I didn't even try a lot, but like everyone was studying that so much that I just learned half their courses. Not ideal.
Okay. So with that, I thank Vedant Neema, Gautham V, and Rishita, all of you for being here. Rishita of net disconnected in middle, so fad. Thank you for whatever you said. We hope we get to see more people take physics over computer science engineering. Obviously, if you like physics, don't let these three people persuade you into doing things you don't like.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Are you
shoot.
gonna do an interview of CS people who regret taking CS in CMA?
Buddy,
that that
I
will be
don't want.
that will be very rich in people, bro.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, we don't want to make people.
Overpopulated.
We are not against physics. We are not against CS. I named it Don't Just Take
That's
Physics.
different. The case become like people who took CS just for the sake of CS, just for
Oh,
the
acha,
sake
acha.
of placement. There are a
Acha,
lot of
regret.
people like that.
Oh, okay. I should make a regret reel, right?
Yeah.
People regretting.
No, I think it'd be nice to see just a CS panel too.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have a normal CS panel with normal CS people.
Normal
Because,
CS.
CS.
because
Which CS people is normal, bro?
other than that, thank you all for being here.